Word around the campfire is that Noma is closing. I mean, it seems like they're trying to go. I mean, there's official statements, and then there's, I guess, the bigger picture, I suppose you could say. And they did do a statement, Noma's statement. Did you read the statement?
No, I didn't read it. Here, let me bring it up really quick.
Yeah.
I did see it, but I don't remember exactly what they had said.
It says, so it's loading up. What a cute little icon thingy.
Oh, I see
Oh,
it right
here.
now too.
There you go. Noma 3.0. To continue being Noma, we must change. Dear guests, colleagues, and friends, winter 2024 will be the last season of Noma as we know it. We are beginning a new chapter, Noma 3.0. In 2025, our restaurant is transforming into a giant lab, a pioneering test kitchen dedicated to the work of food innovation and the development of new flavors. One that will share the fruits of our efforts more widely than ever before. In this next phase, we will continue to travel and search for new ways to share our work. Is there somewhere we must go in the world to learn? Then we will do a Noma pop up. And when we've gathered enough new ideas and flavors, we will do a season in Copenhagen. Serving guests will still be a part of who we are, but being a restaurant will no longer define us. Instead, much of our time will be spent on exploring new projects and developing many more ideas and products. Our goal is to create a lasting organization dedicated to groundbreaking food work in food, but also to redefine the foundation for a restaurant team, a place where you can learn, you can take risks, and you can grow. We've spent the last 2 years planning, and we're ready for the next many years of realizing our goals. We hope you'll join us on this new journey. Thank you, Renee and the Noma team. That's nice.
Yeah.
Uh, I I read somewhere on, I think it was the Bon Appetit that I sent you. It seemed very unsustainable with the way they're doing things. And one of the things that popped up is now that they're paying interns, it's added $50,000 in monthly operation
Yeah, and
expenses.
I was looking at someone did like the analytics on what they report, and that basically makes it so they only make about $1 million a year, I guess.
That's not sustainable, man. You can't live off of $1 million a year.
No. Well, it trips me out. I was looking more into it, and they got like what 30 chefs on their roster, and it's like you'd think, I don't know, I'm not a business owner, but it's like that seems a little like overkill to me. And you got all this free labor from the interns and stuff like that, that all of a sudden that's gonna break you. It's not the 30 chefs that are on your roster.
I wonder what these interns do for work because I was listening to this guy talk how he did a stage there, and a lot of the people there literally like you're on your own. You're not getting paid for this thing, Like you travel, no one's paying for it. You're living, I don't know if there's like living expenses included or what, but you're essentially there for free,
Yeah.
And I mean, post pre 2020, that's fine and all, But yeah, I mean, cooks aren't
I don't
playing that
know.
shit.
I've never agreed with that whole system of working like a stage for even 2 weeks, 3 weeks unpaid. It just seems outdated to me. People, I mean, look at the cost of living today compared to, when people really took an interest in cooking long ago. I need to get paid. That's the bottom line. And it's like, yeah, that you'll get some people who you need to train and all that, but isn't that part of every job?
Yeah, right. I don't understand. Like somehow the restaurant industry has almost like carved itself as like we're different, but not
R-
necessarily always in the best way.
Right. It's kind of like edgy, like,
It's
oh yeah.
edgy. Like any other job, you call out, you call out. Here,
Well,
it's like, uh huh.
you know who does that nowadays though is like tech companies and stuff like that, or like um like journalism and stuff like that. They do a lot of like unpaid internship just to kind of, and doctors, historically you got to do your internship, coming out of college, but that makes sense to me. Like you gotta get your credits and stuff. You gotta get your credentials in the
I can
hospital for
understand. Yeah, I
we're
can
chef
understand that.
working in a kitchen is not working in a hospital.
You're not saving lives, man. You just sir, you're serving brunch. You
You
just
might even be to kind of killing people slowly. A lot of
yeah,
salt and
exactly.
butter.
It's just fucking wild to me. Yeah, no, and I guess like yeah. So there's that, the 50,000, and this is also coming of like Noma was I guess was kind of outed by a former employee just on all the negative shit that happens there, like it's sexism, racism, homophobia, bullying type shit. You know what's wild? I was reading some of the things that these chefs would do. Like one guy threw a phone into the fat fryer.
Oh,
You know, another guy carried a gun so he can shoot like the rats or vermin in the. It concerns me that I read all of that and I didn't question whether it was real or not. It just like yeah, that makes sense.
well, then the owner, um, what's his Rene Redzepi or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like admittedly was a terrible chef in his younger years, and he's like trying to do this whole spiritual journey thing now. And it kind of, I don't know, it just seems like phoning it in to me, honestly. He's like shutting down because all of a sudden he has to pay his interns and stuff, and he's like talking about how he's trying to change from the chef that he was in his formative years, and it's like, well, all right, you know,
It's like, bro,
kind of.
if you're passionate about the craft, don't chase the money.
Well, DC, yeah, but that gets brushed over because he's doing, the pop-ups. He's going, and I've seen some documentaries on like the pop-up they did in the Yucatan, and it was, he was working with a lot of like local people and ingredients and stuff like that, and that's cool. I appreciate that, but it's like your employees who work for you, they have lives too and stuff, so you got to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine being an unpaid intern, especially a lot of those guys. I'm sure, like you were saying, were traveling out there to be on that and join that team there, and it's like, holy shit.
And for
That's
what? I mean, like honestly, like what percentage do you think of those people ended up where they wanted to?
no, exactly, and in my opinion, dedication like that's enough for me to want someone to work for me and pay them.
Oh yeah, it's fucking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that whole spiel they gave about, and I'm not a fan of Noma 3.0. It's like, come on, we're doing a food lab and shit. It's so stupid.
I don't. I just don't believe whatever statement a kitchen puts out because to me, at the end of the day, like for me, I'm like, what's this really about? You know, like
Yeah.
um, were you at the Bird like in 2020 still or during the
Yeah.
fires?
Yeah. 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 Yes.
Like a perfect example. This kind of made me go, that's interesting. So there was that week where like air quality was like abysmal, like non-existent. You remember that week where like you went outside and it was just smoke and the sky was red, just
Yeah,
like
and they're telling people on the news like stay inside and maybe like if you get an air purifier for all this, you got to switch that filter out at the end because then you'll just keep pumping that shit into your door or your through your AC or
yeah.
whatever.
And I remember like I put I went to work, I did everything what was asked, and I was just venting. I'm just I like making memes for fun or just like my way of like I guess criticizing whatever's going on. And so I take this meme and it is you've seen Infinity War. Oh no,
Yeah.
you've seen Endgame
Yes,
where
yeah.
the Scarlet Witch like lifts up Thanos and begins to like almost tear him apart.
Right.
And so he's like rain down whatever the fuck the missiles. But I re captioned everything so it's like Thanos is suffering and he's saying open the restaurants and his soldiers like, but chef, our health, just do it. Okay.
Oh
So I
Lord.
put that in. I think it's fucking great. I think it's hilarious. I go to work, I do my thing, whatever. Then David comes in like the next day. He pulls me into his office and his big he gave me like a breakdown of like what goes into a restaurant, the expenses having to do running a restaurant. And then his thing was like, Josue, what if someone saw that and that convinced them like to take action? Like, you mean like to call out? That sounds fucking great to me, you know?
Right, what
Like,
action is he talking about
I
here?
don't
Is
know.
people are
Like,
gonna
like he legit, no, I swear to God, he made it seem though he had this like he made it seem like this person, whoever this imaginary person, is gonna read this and be like, "Fuck this! I'm ending myself here and there."
they're
Like, homie,
or start a movement against the bird, you know?
that's it. We're not
Have people
coming.
yeah,
Like,
have
what are
people
you
outside with
talking
fucking
about, dude?
with picket signs and shit.
But then he tells me, it's like, look, if people don't want to come, they don't have to. I think what he was trying to say is like, look, if you don't want to come in, that's fine, but shut the fuck up. You don't need to go and tell the world about this, you know? And then he tells me that the day before, the employees at Steakhouse all just like they weren't gonna go in. They either called out or they stood in front of the restaurant. They're like, we're not working today, not in these conditions. And so Steakhouse didn't open. And I thought the coincidence, the timing was just crazy. The fact that I put out that meme the day that Steakhouse decides we're not gonna work.
Huh. David was probably like this motherfucker.
This Che Guevara looking guy,
This mother he's trying to start a workers union.
this not in my restaurant.
Not the, not the Josué workers revolution.
No, no, no. So, and what was it? Okay, so that's one day. I think it must have been like a Wednesday or something. The next day, and you got to remember, like I think the fires were around August, and so and what COVID we had shut down March, and
They
they
were shut
re
down for a while. I thought like a few
yeah,
months.
yeah, they shut down March 2020, and then Nick called me at around July, like, you ready to come back? And I think the fires were like after August. Okay, so it was already like 6 months, a little over
I
6 months of all this shit.
think it was like
E-
late August, early September is when those
exactly.
fires happened.
And so I put out this meme. Steakhouse calls out, and then the next day, after those two talks, then upper management decides to like, hey, we just want to thank you guys for sticking with us. I know it's been really crazy, and the whole time I'm thinking, like, I'm reading and I'm like, it. David pulled me into the office, so I kind of have an idea what's going on behind the scenes. So to me, this just seems like a reaction to that versus an actual we sincerely care. Like, if it were me, it's like, wouldn't you like, okay, we're gonna open the new restaurants. Listen, talk to your like all the chefs, have a chef meeting. Talk to your guys, let them know. Mark can make a little appearance here and there. Like, hey guys, I really appreciate you guys coming in. I know it's crazy, but we'll make it work. But hey, your health is number one. So if you don't feel, you're up for it, if you feel like, what, it's just best for you to stay, we completely understand. But then it's like, it's only after the fact. It's only after someone posts a meme. It's only after. Then it's like, oh, we should fucking say something. So this kind
Huh.
of has that
Pe
same. Uh
People
huh.
are getting disgruntled, you know. We gotta. Well, the thing that tripped me out too is I remember when they did that, and it was like, it wasn't even like a everybody's getting a quarter raise or not even a fucking pizza party, you know? It was just literally like, all right, everybody, you did a great job, thank you.
You
So
got a letter that was taped on the freezer. That was your
yeah,
your pat on the back. Thank you,
yeah,
Aaron, for coming in.
yeah, exactly. A long ass letter too. I was like, oh, something cool's gonna happen, and then by the end of it, you're like, wow, I read the whole fucking thing for nothing.
Pretty much. But this is exactly the vibe I got reading that statement, and then reading the article, and it just seems like it's all going to shit. So you kind of want to like, I mean, they couldn't get ahead of it. But I mean, Noma 3.0, I'm sure they'll find ways to like exploit their workers more.
Dude, they're $1 million a year ahead of it, for God's sakes.
It's just wild. It's like, you think these companies go intentionally with like, I mean, you kind of have to, I imagine, like if you're like, we're going for Michelin and damn anything else, you know? It's just kind of grimy because I love the, like, I'm not a big fan, like, I'm very conflicted when it comes to fine dining. I think the Bird did a great job in that it took the best things of fine dining. Like it always made you want to do better. It always made you want to do things with more careful and It almost reminded me of like applying things like almost like Zen, everything with a purpose. You know, when you stir, it's with purpose and everything. I mean, you know, like Eric really was a perfect example of like teaching that in us.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but
and the menu there is very like you can see the upper classness to the to upper classness.
you could see that. I
Workers
like that.
Revolution, but
Yeah, no.
you can
Let's
see the like the fine dining aspects of it, but it was very much like a casual setting, casual cooking, but like with the steak even. There was the Korean barbecue sauce that we drizzle on the piece, shoot salad and all that stuff, and it's very like it elevates it. It's such a like a what do you call that? Um, Cliche word that they use in cooking, elevating, but it did, it made it better, and it was kind of interesting because I remember when I went to work there, it was doing the burgers and the barbecue and shit. And when I went there, I was like, "Fuck, I never really messed with any of these flavors and these ingredients." And now some of the like the Asian stuff that we did over there, a lot of the Korean barbecue and stuff like that is like some of my favorite food now.
Oh, legit. There's so much stuff. Like, I didn't really know anything about Korean stuff. Now it's like I can't help it, but I'll apply it to just things that I'm working on. I can't help
Right?
it now, just a little bit of here, a little zing there.
The other day, I was like, "Should I get some gochujang paste?
That's what
Fucking
I'm saying.
awesome!"
Gochujang, make a little K sauce. I'm out. I'm down for that.
Right?
But I just think maybe it's just like what the final, like what your end goal is, because it's going to determine a lot on how, yeah, on the effect it has on other people. I mean, pre 2020, who the fuck cares? I mean, you were essentially just a piece of equipment. No one gives a fuck. Now, no, man, come on, dude. Like, I don't. You think I'm gonna be fucking working for free for
I
what? For
know,
something
right?
that I could eat? I'll buy the book and I'll go to YouTube University.
It's crazy too that it took like a whole like pandemic for people to be like, you know what? No, this is bullshit. I'm not going to work. I'm not doing this for fucking $15 an hour.
It's $15 an hour. That cracks me up because they'll still be like, listen, we don't pay as much, but we make up for it in we'll work with your schedule. We're flexible. If you need a day off, we'll give it to you. And now in 2020 is like, so you're gonna pay me less and give me what any job should be offering me.
So a lot of places are like, you can work from home now, you know?
Yeah,
And I mean, obviously that will never break into our industry unless those robots get big and I can
I'm
control
telling you, man.
one,
I think those robots are gonna come and get big, and then and people like you and me will just be like, what is culinary engineers?
right? I'll be watching it fucking like Julian some carrots. I'm like, wow, great technique.
Like,
You
hold on,
know?
this guy's going at 2.37 millimeters. Aaron,
Eh,
it's supposed to be 2.0.
No,
We
we'll be working, but it'll be our sous chef and head chef. We'll be robots to
did you not
combine.
calibrate the machine, Aaron? What the hell,
They'll,
dude?
they'll combine and pick all their prep and shit. They'll be like the CJ models.
It is now 7 o'clock. Would you like to see the sunset? Suspending tickets for the next 10 minutes.
Oh, I'd be into that. That'd be cool.
I think the catch if there were robots, it would be we'd work from home, making sure service goes well, and then we have to come in to clean up said robots.
I guess they can't do it themselves. Fuck.
Yeah. It's like that.
So just maintenance men, you're like, look, you like grab your white coat and you just like look at it and you just put it back on the hook. You're like, I don't even fucking need this thing.
It'll be no different than like a Ben Davis mechanic outfit in the 90s. That's exactly
Yeah,
what it's gonna be like.
it'll be coveralls. Will be like the chef uniform, but they'll be white still.
Yeah, they'll still be white. They're just not gonna hold that pristine that what it used to symbolize. Ooh, he's a chef. Oh, you
right?
fucking mechanic. Hey, can you change my oil, asshole?
The coveralls will have like some French knots on the front.
Oh, of course they will. But yeah, man, I don't. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm not really a fan of fine dining. It's not really my jam. I think it's pretentious. I think it's one of those to flex on people
Yeah,
type of
you know,
things.
I did it. I've gone to like I went to a Valentine's Day dinner with
At
Kishi.
Cattleman's,
No, not at Calman's, at Blue Ridge Kitchen. I don't know if it had opened when you were still here yet, but it's like a nicer place out in the Barlow in Sebastopol, and it's very much like I wouldn't call it is fine dining because the whole place is very like bougie, you know,
right?
and their menu prices are crazy and all that, but their food is good. So but we went there and we did the 8 course meal, and they bring out the little tiny oyster with the creamed arugula packed in with it and some breadcrumbs on top, and it was really good and all that. But it like you said, it's kind of like phony little ways. It doesn't feel like real food to me
It's
sometimes.
just a flex. What you went there to like what make memories and do anything. You know what?
That's why we went there, and it was cool for the experience of having something like that because it's not like a common man's experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was, I wouldn't mind never doing it again. That wouldn't be skin off my back.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I could think going to something nice would be to, like to celebrate a special occasion.
Or yeah, for say, if you had, I don't have kids, but you got kids, like, if they had some monumental achievement, you take them out to fucking a really nice restaurant,
I mean,
treat them.
look, I just think it's what I mean. Speaking on that, it just weird. It weirded me out when like people would take their kids for their birthday dinner at the Bird.
Yeah, that's not really
It's
something a kid would
it's
want,
not.
I feel
Look,
like.
man, just because you have a kids menu,
We
like
have,
kids
have
item on the menu, it doesn't make it a kid friendly restaurant.
right, the kid's just like, I want the monkey ball or the monkey bread.
Yeah, can I have the mac and cheese? But it's just
Yeah, that
pasta
mac
and
and
butter.
cheese was
That's
really
it.
good though.
Yeah, yeah. But you got to get that shit modded out. Oh no, wait, they had kids mac and cheese. Still, you had a
Yeah,
few things. It felt one of those like, look, man, we did enough, so we can say that it's kid friendly. We can bring kids here.
right. Like no kid, no even young adult probably wants half that shit on there. You bring like a 16 or 17-year-old in there, and they see like the steak, and they see the pea shoot salad and the garlics and all that, and the butter on it, and they're like, I don't know, can I just get a steak with like salt and pepper and some fucking ketchup?
It is it is it like social justice warrior to say that food is a little classist in some ways? Is that too
Food is
much?
definitely classes, though. It is because, like I was talking about earlier, like fine dining and like course style meals not being like a common man experience. It isn't, and like eating at the Bird is not even a fucking like a common thing. It's like a rare special occasion for most people because fucking it's expensive. It's not McDonald's where your majority of poorer people when they go out to eat would eat at McDonald's. I remember doing that all the time as a fucking kid, you know. But it is classes because you can see it in the. I'm about to start going on a tangent, but you can see it in the
Do
in the
it.
grocery stores and stuff. The way they set them up, like Whole Foods are in predominantly wealthier areas,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to grocery outlets.
Whoa,
So
hold on. Are you saying the Whole Foods in Loop? Are you saying that area is a higher economy class?
then South Park or like over there in like West Ninth area, yeah, definitely.
No, Yalupa by where is that? Bennett Valley.
Yeah,
I
no,
guess
for
so.
sure.
You know what? Yeah, yeah. You know
Have you
what?
ever been up into those hills right there,
No,
right
you're absolutely
by
right. It gives
by
you
the by fucking what is that? The Howarth Park and stuff. All those
Yeah.
houses out there.
No, you're right. It does give me like Novato vibes.
No,
Like when
those
you
are yeah. Some of those houses are like $1 million homes and stuff.
yeah,
It's kind
no,
of crazy.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Guess you're right about that Whole Foods thing.
There are a lot of apartments and stuff over there by Ulupa, like on that little strip and stuff like that, though. But even, dude, apartment living around here now is crazy too. It's like $2,500 for 2 bedrooms and stuff.
2 bedroom apartment?
Yeah,
That's wild. I was paying 2,000 for a 2 bedroom condo with a garage, 2 car garage.
yeah. It's
And
I feel happy for people who kind of got in before everything with this shit. I know like landlords have been raising rent and stuff, but you can't really like do it that crazily, you know?
so I mean, so I guess if you don't if you have bills, if you have these other responsibilities, I guess working in fine dining just isn't really a viable option.
Oh, not well, working in fine dining is a whole another situation. I mean, that's probably where you'd want to be, especially if you're a server, get those tips.
Yeah, if you're a server, you get those tips. Not so much if you're a cook. I mean, even if you do get like tipped out, some places do it like
Fine
percentage wise.
fine dining in my experience, like you remember that place Madrona Manor?
Huh? Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah. In Healdsburg.
s- yeah, so like they were giving people I think like 22 or $23 when I first started cooking, like years ago, when I was making like 15 or 16 at the little fucking bar I was working at, you know? And so like they do if it's a nice place, you know, and the owner's all right, they do pay their staff a little bit more. But like even especially in Sonoma County, like $23 really ain't it's nothing to you could buy a house with or nothing, you know?
It's not a livable wage, man.
Yeah.
So then, in some ways, it's like it's just not sustainable to even have this level of. I mean, you do have to rely on either underpaying your cooks or um, young cooks, 18, 19, 20, year old guys working for free and then figuring out how they're gonna fucking pay for their rent.
Yeah.
Outside, it's fucking crazy. Dry Creek, I heard. Well, Zenny told me that like in Hillsburg, the Dry Creek, yeah, that's what it's called, right? Yeah, Dry Creek. That restaurant group, they have like apartments that they rent out to their cooks.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the things too that we were looking at this other place that me and my owner that I work for now gonna go open. It's like in a hotel, so like he was like, yeah, you probably can have a room or a suite or whatever if you're working, early in the morning or whatever. I could get there, hang out, and fucking go down to work. I was like, that's kind of nice, dude. That's
Dude, I'm
clutch.
not gonna lie, man. If I like on like a good day when I'm really feeling like pumped, yeah, I would absolutely do that. Like some days on brunch, I would like you're supposed to clock in at 8, but I would just come in at 7.
Dude,
I could not fucking help myself. Like the chef would tell me, Nick would be like, "Listen, man, come in like at 7:45, 7:50. You don't need to come in that early." I kept pushing it inch by inch until eventually I was there at 7 a.m. and just getting ahead on that prep.
So I asked him to. I was like, "Can I clock in at 7?" I was like, "I get here at 7 because of the ride schedule with the one car thing." He was like, this and that. He gave me like an excuse, and I was like, "Well, I don't know. I'm gonna be working. I don't give a fuck, you know." But that's the thing too. Is like that. Why am I working when I'm not getting paid?
That's got to really suck. And then in some places, like you even said, man, it's like everyone has like the same haircut, the same look. Everything's just like super NPC, you know?
That was like my buddy said when he got a job at fucking Yountville. He was like, "Yeah, it kind of." He's like, "It's almost like a cult." Everybody looks exactly the same. They got the same haircut. They talk the same. Nobody's like chit-chatting with each other and shooting jokes. And I mean, don't get me wrong, rush comes, I get super serious and it's crunch time, but like, fuck, I could not imagine my whole job being so rigorous and like, it seems unfun, you know?
I know. Can you imagine just like keep your head down, you're no talking, you know, it's a high probability that after you finish your prep, it's going to get tossed anyways and get told that it's garbage.
Right? Not being able to give like Chef Eric or Chef Nick a fucking hard time all damn day and like just really like give them a lot of anxiety about what we were doing.
It's like, homie, you know that we come in for the chef. The chef is the one that keeps us coming in, man. Don't mess that up.
Right? That's again like how we were talking about Eric the other night. It's like that's why he was such a good chef is he kept you like engaged with what you were doing, and he also like engaged with you on a personal level. It made you feel like included, like you're part of the team, you know?
Oh yeah, man. I have such good. One of the things I was thinking about this like an hour before we started recording this, and it was like I can't tell you how many times I would go up to Eric and be like, "Listen, can I talk to you outside or talk to you in the office?" And sometimes there was just I was going through personal things at home and it was just affecting whether like I can't come in this day or hey, I'm going to be coming in an hour, 2 hours late this day, blah blah blah. And now I think about it and it's like there's a few of those conversations where it's like I don't have to tell him anything, but it's not so much that it's he doesn't have to care. And if you
No,
told
exactly.
and if you told me like and if it came out like, oh, Eric cared 0% about all the things that you were telling him, like Josué, just call out, it would have shocked me because he did a fantastic job at making me feel heard. You know? Whereas like so like every time I always felt like, man, this guy fucking gets it. This guy hears me. This guy like he cares. He empathizes with me, you know? Whereas David would come in and then he'd talk talk at everyone. We care, blah blah blah. But then it's like whenever you'd have like an issue or something, it's immediately squashed. Like I don't care. Like I get it, dude. You just need people to come in, but it's like even if you don't care, you gotta somehow pretend to care. And at the end of the day, it's like that's what kept me going. It's funny when you say cult because everyone that I've talked to that doesn't work for the Starks, that's what they call them. It's like that. Like the whole restaurant group is like called, and I just never understood it. But it makes sense now a little bit, because it's like think about how many times people would leave and then they'd come back. You know, it
Yeah.
definitely gives you this like, man, we must be doing something right. But now I think that their backs are sort of against the wall because now it's like, get this, they don't pay well. I can't tell you how many times like one of Mo's friends would come and they'd be working like a really nice place in Healdsburg, and we'd get along with him. Like, did you ever meet any of Mo's friends when they'd come into the Bird?
Dude, he had that one friend that'd come in all the time, and
And
the most he was funny, but he was also one of the most annoying people I ever met in my life. And it was a trip, dude. Like, and I don't get it. Like, yeah, I really don't get it. Like you're saying, like people would be out there making fucking who I don't want to sit there and say someone is like a not as good as a cook or a chef as me, but you're looking at someone who has this attitude of like devil may care kind of thing, uh, and he's making fucking good money, and you're like, how the fuck did I not get that job? Like, what?
that's what I'm saying. And
Why did
now
I
it's
apply
like,
here?
what can they do now? I mean, he was getting paid well, and we asked him several times, like, dude, you come in so much, you want to get a job here, hang out, He's like, nah, man, Starks don't pay that much. And
Yeah, I asked him once, and he like laughed. I was like, oh fuck.
I know, as an insider, me being there, I was like, how dare you? It felt almost like being a Scientologist. Like, how dare you talk about
We're
our
gonna
leader?
Scientologists, we're gonna ruin you.
He's like, you'll see, you'll never work in this county again.
You
Keep
won't
bad
work
mouthing
in
us.
one of the 9 restaurants that we own.
Well, they own 13. 4 of them are up in the air as plans. Like remember when what it was the HR lady, Brandy? She's like,
Brandy,
you were
yeah.
quitting. Hey, you want to come in open
That threw
what
me
the
off when she said that, dude. I was like, what the hell? Like, why
offering
not?
you a job
Yeah.
during service? Like, don't you want a management job? You don't have to quit.
she's like, "Oh, so you got hired as management? Well, guess what? We're opening up a new restaurant." I was like, "Oh, okay. No, I'm okay. Thank you
I
very
think that's
much."
like their go-to. I think that's their go-to answer for anything. Like if you're trying to leave, it's like, yo, 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 yo,
Well, I talked to
we would.
Tony about it too, and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, nobody wants to take that restaurant over. He's like, it's all the way out in fucking Windsor, and it's kind of like a crap location. He's like, but like basically told me I dodged a bullet by not jumping on that, and I was like,
But
okay, like thank
but it's
God.
like, what year was that, and what year is it now?
The restaurant's ain't even open, so
I don't even think like it's probably just an empty space right now. Can you imagine if you would have like, yeah, okay.
huh,
2 years
right?
later, you'd be like in the position that so many other cooks were in, where it's
I'd be
like
still working at the Bird, man.
you'd be at the
Maybe,
Bird. They might have
yeah.
moved. Like, listen, man. Things don't go as planned, but we'd like to offer you this nice position at another restaurant. But to my bigger point is before 2020, the Starks could rely on like, listen, we don't pay as much, but we'll treat you right. We'll work with your schedule. We care. Blah blah blah.
And they had health insurance, man. Not a lot of
Yeah,
restaurants are offering health
I
insurance.
don't know. Hey, I don't know, man. That's true. That's facts. But you know what? Post 2020, that's kind of like standard shit now. That isn't a selling point for me. It's like, what you mean the chef is gonna treat me with respect? You mean if I call out, it's cool? I
Yeah,
don't
no,
like.
exactly.
No, dude, you don't pay well. Period. This other. I quit there just to go work at a place half the job and like way the f more money. And everyone up to the owner was cool. I mean, the owner had the office right there in the kitchen. What a cool dude, man. But yeah, man, it is not looking well for the big. I mean, Noma is one of the bigger restaurants, so it's one of those like trickle down thing. It's just gonna
Right.
end up trickling down to everything else.
Right. When we talk about, fine dining experiences, Noma is literally the top of that. And it's not like the gold standard for fine dining. It goes even above and beyond that. I mean, some of the shit they do over there is, how he's talking about open up a food lab and all that stuff. And that is, kind of what they do over there. They kind of like push the boundaries of creating dishes that are, contrasting flavors that are not, usually made to be together and stuff like that, and kind of going with the food science aspect of cooking, um, which is cool. But I think it's not a great indicator of fine dining on a general basis. I will stand by all my fine dining points though, because I just don't think it is a culture that I want to be a part of.
I don't. I like the idea of it. I like the idea. What attracts me to it is that it prevents. There's a certain like I guess you could say the standards you would find in a fine dining is the bouncer that keeps the riffraff from sneaking in. But
You mean the bums?
the bums, okay?
Anybody,
The less than
anybody not
favorable
wearing,
people.
yeah, anybody not wearing wingtips and fucking a tuxedo or a fucking,
Exactly.
a
I don't know.
blazer.
No, no. If you can come and see me at work, no, I don't think so. Um, but even then, I worked at John Ash for 5 months, and there was a guy there, Juan, and this guy was the biggest POS. I mean, they had gone through a few when I went there.
What was he, a line cook or was he one of the chefs?
No, he was a line cook,
Oh,
but he
nice.
had been there. What I started 2017, and he had been there since like 2007, almost 10 years.
So
And
he was like, he was the alpha line cook there.
he
He
was the
thought he knew
alpha line cook.
everything.
He was like the chef would almost have like non-existent conversations with the cook, but with him it was this like it was the way Mark looks at you, Aaron, with loving, caring eyes. Like this is my son. If I would have had a son,
I think
but
Mark does have a son.
he has a son-in-law.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, that's right. He has a daughter. You're right.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't have quit, he would have given you the chef position at seafood, but you quit.
He would have adopted me and
Yeah, he would have been
fucking.
like, "Listen, it's between you and my son-in-law, and I
I would
really want
have
it to be you."
I would have had to call my dad and be like, "Look, man, like, I'm gonna get a lucrative trade deal out of this and get my teeth fixed."
Look, he's offering me dental, health
Jeez.
insurance, you
What do you
know,
got, Dad?
a spot in the Sears family photo that we're gonna
Yeah.
take every year. What's not to
Oh,
love?
I always wanted to go one of those the upper echelon Christmas parties that they did at his house.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been nice.
You
It's
gotta know, like, it would be nice to see. It'd be nice to see if maybe even David like could be like nice in an
a human
outside
being,
setting. Yeah, yeah, a human being,
just a guy that doesn't define his personality
not
on the
not a
coat.
Wisconsin. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Is that
Reverse,
gonna be the
reverse.
is that gonna be the only beep in the conversation? Not a beep.
Oh man, I just don't want to anger any of those Wisconsin fans out there.
No, no, no. Listen, we love Wisconsin people. We're just saying that one of your guys came to California and
He
really,
was he was not that '70s show at all.
no, not at all. Not at all. He was more like that '80s show. Yeah.
Yeah, I did never see an episode of that, but
But I mean, hey man, I guess it's lucky when the only person you just need to make happy is the owner. And I don't think Mark has the kind of time to go and see what David's up to.
well, fucking Mark did half of like that whole aspect that you're talking about of like being a caring boss. Like David would walk in, kind of give you a glance over and a wave, and then just go straight over to fucking Eric or Nick or Tony afterwards and just talk to them and say all this shit and then dip, or make some. He'd ask you to make them burgers with no fucking bread and then dip off. But Mark, when he came in, he'd fucking give you winks and shit. He'd make you
He'd
feel
interact, man. Like I never felt like, oh snap, the boss is here.
right. When Nick would come and be like, "Oh, Mark's coming in," I'd be like, "Sweet, like Mark's coming in."
Cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Why are you stressed out, man? Be cool.
which is just contrasts so heavily with like how the wages are there and stuff. It's so odd to me. He's so friendly, but I guess that's kind of it, ain't it? You know?
It's a show, man. I mean, look, Disney, man. There's my
Uh,
case in point. Disney.
yeah, yeah,
They look nice, don't they?
yeah.
But I mean, I guess the thing that kind of irks me is like, you're not gonna pay us. You're not gonna pay us well. They did starting doing that tip out thing by percentages,
Hey, you make
which
like fucking, you make like $60 a month.
check this out: $60 a month at the Bird, about $40 at Grossman's, but at Steakhouse they were pulling like I think someone said the number like 500.
Really?
Yeah, but it makes more sense, because of it's more of a celebratory place.
Well, I made fucking $500 in tips slinging wood fire pizzas at a bar in 3 days. So
Isn't that crazy that you made more in 3 days doing pizzas than that? So, I mean, I think it's going to be a matter of time before it hits them because it's like, how are you going to not pay us enough? But every 2 years, you're coming out with, we got a new restaurant coming up. Get ready, y'all.
like,
It's
so they could literally just keep wages, 18, $19 an hour, or whatever, pay the wait staff the same, and then just tip cool everything. I don't know. It's kind of a crazy idea just because nobody ever fucking does it like that. But it's like, that seems like it's rewarding both the servers who, are definitely needed if you want to have like a sit down, nice restaurant. But it's also rewarding your cooks who are back there busting their ass, usually in really hot temperatures, regardless of what time of year it is. Um, and who are working hard every day, and sometimes, for 14, 15 hours a day.
it's wild, man. I don't know. Like, it almost feel I'm drawing these comparisons to like fashion where like you'll have like a really take whatever fashion brand you want, but it's like they'll make a really cool purse, jeans, or whatever. But then it's like, is it really worth it? Like what it took to? It's like I guess it's almost like an extreme version would be like an iPhone. It's like the amount of Chinese people that are jumping off of buildings, the bigger picture of like
That they
what goes
have the
into.
nets around those fucking buildings, dude.
It's like, do we really need it? I mean, dude, I'm recording this on an iPhone, so who am I to talk?
Not me.
Yeah. But it's like, what's the point? I just don't see much justification for like, hey, we're gonna be mixing these flavors, we're gonna be this test kitchen, blah blah blah. At what expense? We're gonna be, we're gonna get from point A to point B on our cooks' backs on free labor. And hey, you know what? We'll write them a letter of appreciation. Not to each one individually, because we just don't have that kind of time. But we'll post it up on the walk-in. Like as they walk in, they can read it. As so
Exactly.
long as the sous chef doesn't see you standing there, then it shouldn't be a problem. But if he sees you there, he might chew you out.
hmm Read it when you're going back from your station and to the walk-in for,
Take a
prep and
picture of
stuff.
it and read it on your own time.
When you use the bathroom or something like that. But not too long in the bathroom, please.
Not too long in the bathroom, man. Bathrooms are the great break. That's a good
Oh
area to
yeah.
take a break. You just go and you just chill out. And you're like, Jesus, what is going on out there?
You look around at the line, there's no tickets, and you're like, I think I gotta go take a shit.
So, I mean, I guess my takeaway from all this is like, okay, if this is sort of crumbling, or at the very least, it's cracking. Fine dining is changing. They're saying, oh, we want to do 3.0. I'm going on the take of it just sounds like you can't fucking afford to do all the cool things that you want because now you're going to have to start paying these people.
Well, I wonder too, it's like, we were talking about $1 million. It's like, how many investors does that guy have who are like, that's not enough money for us? So he's like, maybe he lost his investors and now he's like, I gotta pull out and
I
do
just don't
this
see what's the
food
problem
lab.
with just. I mean, I'd rather have one good restaurant and do things really, really
That's what I'm saying.
well.
Own a restaurant like a normal fucking person. Like, Jesus Christ. Just
What's with Jesus? Yeah, we're gonna go forage for twigs and leaves, and we're gonna iron your food. I don't like. Come on,
we're
man.
gonna iron the food. These are
How
these
do
are fucking banana leaves that we ironed so that we could make your little
you?
plate on it.
Here's a flat iron steak. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Here's the most delicious stingray tail soup you've ever had.
So while these people are suffering, they're trying to figure out, like, man, how do I open up my seventh restaurant and still, be able to afford it? I think this is a good time to maybe just. I think this is a perfect time for cooks to leverage their power. Before you didn't really have it. It was literally like you're not working here. We don't need you. We got a stack of other people doing that are willing to do what you do plus more. I hate that because it's like a one-way street to like getting exploited or just terrible things. To go back on that Juan story, I can't, man. I got pulled into that office because I guess like there were complaints going around of how he was treating the female cooks, which I didn't see it, but I was in the walk-in during a certain complaint that happened. I didn't see it after. I guess it happened right after I left. That's when he did some weird stuff. But again, at that time, the only reason they kept him, and the chef and sous chef made it very clear, because he's fast and he's consistent. It's not about whether you're a good person. It's not about whether your team plays. It's not about that. I mean, the guy would throw away recipes from his station because he didn't like the idea of anyone making his stuff. He's just a very proud man. And so, and it just sucked. I remember even like, I learned there to
He had his
be
own recipes.
no. So just imagine like your station, right? Korean barbecue sauce. You learn it, and now every time you see it in the binder, you throw it away.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
That is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
So the recipes were all in his head. So I kind of
Right, but
left.
but what about the rest of the fucking staff? What if this guy's not there and someone needs to make some fucking, barbecue sauce or whatever the fuck?
Hey, please default back to he's fast and he's consistent. And the fact that he's been there for a greater part over. I mean, if he's still there, it's been over a decade. They don't care, man. They don't care. I mean, I got really distrusting of people when I was there because like literally if I would have make one time they have at John Ash they have two restaurants. They have the dinner restaurant which opens at 5, and then they had the breakfast brunch one. And
Mm.
the brunch people, man, I used to envy them so much because they would come in with smiles. They'd be so happy and say hi. And I'm here with the PM staff for the dinner, and it's like, shut up. No one told you to talk. That was the vibe. And I just remember that she was mentioning to the sous chef, like, yeah, I got a few hires coming in, blah, blah, blah. And he went to the office and she was just there grabbing some things. Again, I don't want to talk to her and I don't want to look up because I don't want to get in trouble. But then she starts talking to me and I just casually ask, "Oh, that's cool. What's the schedule for the position I was just trying to make conversation." And then like the next day I get pulled into the office and basically get talked to about how if I want to transfer, I need to talk about management. I cannot just go around doing like what are you talking about? It,
That's
it was
crazy,
it
man.
was like that,
That's
man.
like that's like eyes in the shadow, ears in the fucking walls type shit, you know?
It was just wild, man. And yeah, I just that was my first and last experience with fine dining. And after that, I'm like, dude, I can't do this. I don't understand how people come back day in, day out. And I'm sure mine is minimal compared to the other stuff. No one threw my phone into the fryer. No one
Right? No,
grabbed me by my chef coat and tossed me off the line. I mean, I got chewed out plenty of times for the dumbest shit. I got chewed out plenty of times for things that are valid, but Jesus. After that, I don't have the keep your head down and work. Like it's just not me. Especially if you're gonna be mistreating people. I can hear that siren from Kill Bill. I see that shit. I'm like, oh hell no.
it's like why even show up to work if there's like no camaraderie, you know? Like why even go if I regret
Why
leaving in the
bother?
morning
Who
to fucking
cares? You're
leave?
not gonna get any of the credit when it's like Sonoma County's best restaurant. They're not gonna put a picture of you.
Right.
It's
They're not talking about Sonoma County's best fucking line cook.
hey,
It's,
most notable cooks. We'd like to thank these guys. Hey man, the next time there's a manager like, you know what, we're gonna invite none of that shit, man.
it is nice when Gordon Ramsay comes into the restaurant though.
Oh man, that is always a nice feeling. We thought you were not there that day, were you?
No,
No.
I fucking that was the one day I didn't work that week.
It's all right, man. When Noel had your station covered.
I
That
love that. I love that for him. He looks so excited in the picture, and
he
I
could
fucking
not contain
thrills for him.
himself. That was his it. That was it. That was the peak. After that, it's like, buddy, I'm going back to Mexico. I'm
I,
done.
I,
Screw you
he
guys.
said, "I'm getting the fuck out of here." I was gonna make a joke as like if I was there that night, I probably would have just like that Nick and been like, you know what, man, I think I'm done with this job. That was everything I needed from this place. Just fucking take off my apron and I'm leaving.
Well, that's it for me, guys. Peace out. I
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah, I don't even need to cook anymore. I mean, I fucking met Gordon Ramsay. He took a
Look
picture
at
of me.
that. Yeah,
I'd like
there's
a
the picture
copy
to
of that,
verify it.
please.
You see how he's smiling? It means he doesn't chew me out.
Yeah,
Okay?
he said he
That's my
said nice
resume.
things to me.
That's
Right?
my
It's
resume.
just it's not even a real resume. It's just a fucking picture. That
Sir, this is a
picture.
picture of you with Gordon Ramsay, and does he look happy? Yes.
His face circled, your face is circled. You're like, that's me. That's my resume.
25 an hour, full benefits and insurance.
And like, fucking, oh my god, we gotta go fire our executive chef.
We're just to make, but fine with me, buddy. Yeah, that's hilarious. So, what what would be your advice to a newbie that wants to maybe even join that?
Start cooking.
Yeah, no. Start
Start or
applying
start,
at
get
places. Like,
in the
let's say you go
culinary
and apply
industry.
to John Ash. You go apply at a steakhouse. You know, I'm sure by now maybe you probably have like that kind of courage where you're like, oh no, this is not. I'm not doing this. What would be like some questions you're asking that determine whether it's even worth your time?
I would ask about benefits, honestly. I would ask about like, how the time off situation works. Because like going back to the bird, I wouldn't have even probably wanted that job if I knew that I would have to find my own covers every time I wanted to take a fucking day off. You
Isn't
know,
that wild? Who do you think should be responsible for that? The
look,
cook or the chef?
I think that if you're the chef, you're making the schedule for everybody. You can fucking set the schedule. If someone gives you an ample amount of time, like it's not like, someone's asking you 2 or 3 days before they're leaving. I would ask him a month in advance, and I still would go through the same bullshit every time.
I kept asking. When I worked at Bravas, I needed like 2 weeks off, and I told him I think like a year ahead because I only worked at Bravas for exactly like a year, and I told him a year ahead, and even then I have to find my own coverage. And the pain it was because one, I only work mornings.
Yeah.
So I could only ask those people. Two, I didn't know anyone in the PM. So I could ask them, which led me to point three. I didn't have that kind of rapport. I mean, if you don't know me, Aaron, I'm just some guy and I come in and it's like, hey, can you cover my shit? You're like, who the hell are you?
Honestly, I probably would be the guy to ask because I was gobbling shifts up. I was trying to work everybody's fucking shift.
Oh, I'm oh yeah, no,
But
no. When you need the hours for sure, buddy, no problem.
but yeah, yeah, it was rough. It was fucking stupid. And going back, I would also say for anybody who wants to step foot in the culinary industry that to practice your knife skills at home, you know, watch some fucking YouTube videos about how to properly cut things and the types of cuts that are out there and learn how to do them all efficiently so that when you walk into a place, you don't look like you don't know what you're doing. If the chef says, "Oh, Julian, these fucking vegetables over here," or asks you to dice something or just to chop some lettuce, for instance, you know what you're doing and you look like you actually fit in a little bit.
Yeah.
And confidence, bro. It's just confidence. It, and it could be fake confidence. You might not even know what the fuck you're doing half the time. I remember I got asked if I knew how to make a Bernaise at Wine Bar when I first started there. I didn't even know. I knew what hollandaise was. I didn't know what the fuck Bernaise was. I was like, I was like, yeah, yeah, no, I made that before. And then I went and read the recipe, and I was like, I can do this. Like I can figure this out. And then I asked questions. Like if I got to a point, I'd be like when you're adding like the butter and stuff, you're like, oh, do I pour it all in at once? Like ask questions if you're not sure, because I'm a big I'm a big supporter of the idea that yes, there are stupid questions, but fuck, I don't want you to screw up that dish that you're making right now or that sauce. So you fucking ask me your stupid questions, please.
I genuinely would rather hear nine stupid questions if and get one good question because it's like it's gonna slip through the cracks. It's the same thing with like what I was talking about Eric earlier. It's like, yeah, you know what? As a manager, you're probably gonna hear a lot of bullshit, everyone's fucking problems, and you don't fucking care. But act like you do because you're gonna get that one moment where it fucking counts. And if you're just gonna be like, I don't care, you don't know what kind of fucking damage you did. Then David can be like, you don't know what that could have done to that person.
Yeah.
You don't know what effect that was.
Also, if you don't care, fucking analyze and find out why you don't care, because these are people who are working for you, they're part of your team. You should care about their fucking lives. That's, full stop. You should give a fuck if you are willing to, have these people work underneath you and train them and, see them every single fucking day.
I'd
You
even
should-
go as far to say as treat it the same way you would if you were like going into like a relationship. Like if this is not how you would want to be treated or you wouldn't treat someone like this, you probably shouldn't go there. You
yeah.
know? Like
Or
go ahead.
I was gonna say like a brotherhood of some sort, Or I don't use the word brotherhood, just plenty of able female chefs and
That's sexist. What about the chef that's in a wheelchair working
right.
fry?
Oh, shit. Well, he can roll his ass in. Um,
He could roll yourself out.
but like treat it like you would like the guys who treat their fucking their fellow soldiers in the military, because you're all in the shit together. That's all it is.
I agree. Yeah, and damn, what was I gonna say? Yeah, treat it like a relationship. And as of now, I mean, we don't have the money. Most of these people don't care. You could go. There's so many chefs. You go and you tell them this is wrong. This is what they don't care. I mean, two instances, in both situations, it was because the person that I was complaining about was either an incredibly big brown noser or got the job done or did all the extra, like I stay the extra hours and shit like that. So to me, if you're a cook and you're just going, the best thing that we can do as a cooking culture is just not work for these people. Okay, money, fucking with their money is the only language they understand.
Yeah,
So
or
if
back your fellow cooks up, you know? You see something that's inappropriate, or you hear something, point it out and be like, "What the fuck do you mean by that?" You know? Because that's really people who say and do shit like that and make inappropriate, innuendos and stuff like that. When you call them out on it, they don't ever want to repeat themselves
yeah,
because
and if you're in a sort of kitchen, a big red flag going exactly in what you're working off of what you're saying is kitchens where that is okay. There's going to be those kitchens where it's like it's clicky and this group is talking shit about this group and no one not everyone's going to get along, but it's like at the end of the day when it matters,
yeah, like
if you can all work together, that's fucking fantastic.
exactly. If you're in a kitchen like that, update your fucking Indeed profile or whatever the fuck you're using because you got to find a new job.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Honestly, why are you going to apply at the fine dining? Like, really ask yourself that. Are you going because there's something that you want to learn? Again, half of David's recipes, as told by numerous chefs, is figure out the dish, YouTube it. And then from there, that's the basis. You YouTube the dish that you want to do, and then you work on it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean,
So no, you don't need to go to Noma. You don't need to go to these fancy places that aren't going to pay you. You're going to treat you with crap just so you can learn a dish. I don't think so, buddy. You could, if it's an ego thing, to just say it. I want to be a part of this. I want to be able to say that I work here. That's fantastic. Then you know what? It takes. There's going to be a lot of shit you're going to have to deal with, and that's the price. It
yeah,
doesn't seem worth it to me.
you get that same experience fucking opening up a recipe book and just following the instructions in the book, you know?
Most of the time, it really is as simple as that. I mean, I thought I was and it's crazy because it's like I'm working at John Nash where I'm making like Caesar dressing, and it's like, dude, this is just regular ass Caesar dressing that I've made a million times. You just add a few different ingredients that make it a little elevated, a little extra. At the end of the day, man, come on, man. It's just food. We're not here making national security decisions. We're not here saving lives. We're not doctors. We're not like
Dude,
chill out, dude.
work at the Pentagon, don't you know?
I mean, I can understand if maybe you were like the president's chef and he likes a specific meal, like a certain barbecue chicken from his home state that no one's ever heard of. I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to go learn those ingredients.
Eisenhower, I think it was Eisenhower. He loved dirty steak, which is where you could take a steak and you cook it directly on coals.
Oh,
You
but that sounds really good.
like that. Yeah. I mean, I would fuck with it, honestly.
I
It-
try it, especially if you told me what kind of wood you're using.
or like those that type of coal that you can get from like Japan that burns hella clean and lasts like way longer. Some of that coal,
Mm-hmm.
just do a dirty steak on those.
My chef likes to well, not my chef, my mentor, the guy that got me into cooking. His favorite thing to do is he every time there's like a correspondence dinner or stuff like that, he likes to know who the chef is and what they're serving. And that's just like his hobby, and he really got me into this whole like retro cooking thing. Like, so now what I'll do is like sometimes I'll be on Google and I'm just looking up like restaurants of San Francisco in the 1800s, and I'll see what people there were eating, and then I'll just Google it. It's just if you kind of know about food in the most basic way, you can almost kind of see the story of how things are evolving, what people were eating, what people liked, who was the predominant like population there.
Also, it's like that. It's that fucking Ratatouille moment. You can't fuck with like the classics are nice for a reason. It's kind of nice to fool around with some of that stuff and kind of learn some of the techniques.
I agree. Yeah, I love that shit, man. But it's just, yeah, at the end of the day, know your worth. It's not like, don't get hung up by the glitz and glamour, because at the end of the day, that glitz and glamour was not put up there for you. That is not for us. There's a reason why we go into the kitchen through the back.
No shit.
That's it. And if you're in an open kitchen, you're a prop. That's it. Okay. Um, yeah, I could never work at a spot that I couldn't even afford to go eat at. Let alone they don't pay me enough. Nah, dude.
And
It's your birthday, Aaron. Here's a $25 gift card to any of our 7 restaurants.
oh yeah, yeah. That was
That
always
was.
that was always really sweet of them to do that for us. It's nothing like paying for my drinks to eat at your restaurant.
It's like, this is literally 2 hours of work. I have to make up for it now.
Right? You're like, can I just have the pizza party? You said pizza parties actually was Judd. That boy.
Man, he knew. Judd knew how to fucking take care of it. Sometimes I'd come in, I'm like, there's pizza here. He's like, yeah, I'm paying for it. I'm like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Judd was like the coolest. He would come and get pizza all the time when I was working in Rincon Valley. He'd show up all the time, and then like after a while, he started door dashing,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'd see his name pop up, so I'd just throw something extra in there.
Hell yeah, there we go. Oh man, I miss Joe. We ought to have him on, because he does his gaming channel and everything.
Yeah, he'd be super stoked. He'd probably have to go light on the bird thing.
Is he still there?
He's working at Starks now, I think, and sometimes at the Bird, but as a server.
Yeah, he probably couldn't deal with the whole management thing.
No, he wanted to focus on his YouTube channel and all that stuff.
Good for him, man. He ought to.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of content creators like him. He likes to do a lot of retro gaming.
retro gaming, like showing you secrets and stuff like that. And it's kind of he's got a very unique personality. I love that guy.
Oh yeah, I I love it. I love it every time he'd come into the kitchen, because you'd see like Ari, like, God damn it, would you please just stop distracting my cooks?
Yeah,
And then I'd ask him just one more question, because I knew that would snowball into something bigger. But like, Jed, can you tell me more about X, Y, and Z? I'd love to, Josué.
right,
And it's like Eric can't say anything because they're both managers.
right. He's like you can't reprimand him.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, well, I'll talk to him. We'll have him on. I gotta give him his credit. He is the soul. He's the reason why I even started having a YouTube channel. So
Oh,
I never even told him that.
well, now you gotta tell him. You gotta, yeah, he
Now I
has to.
have to. Now I have to.